This is the great moment of self-determination. It is now that we make the decision as to what plane of reality do we belong. It is now that we must realize, if ever, the priceless value of realization of the Supreme Self. And that every bit of strength in the will and love in the heart and clarity of the mind be dedicated to the realization of the One Self. It is now that the soul must transcend the ego identity once and for all, to leave behind the limitations of the bodily vehicle and learn again the potentialities of our true nature, and activate all of those siddhis, those latent powers of the soul in the service of God. It is now that we must eliminate any trace of selfishness or greed or attachment to anything in the phenomenal plane, and give our entire being to the God Self without remainder. And we must give that gift after having been made it stainless, purified, impeccable through the sadhana in which the Dharma comes alive and the Dharmakaya is fully revealed and activated. And every power of truth and love are integrated and offered for the awakening and the upliftment of all beings still lost in illusion. And all of the power of light return to the source. With the divine authority conferred by the total unification and merger into the Absolute Self. If there is still any trace of split will, of internal conflict, of confusion, of doubt, of fear, or of egocentricity, then this must be cleansed and overcome through the dedication of our entire being to serve the virgin will of the Supreme One, the purity of that absolute presence for whom there is no other and can never be made an object or lose its purity through unworthy thoughts or urges. This is the moment to be delivered from any last traces of sorrow or nostalgia or any trace of the ego patterns of thought and behavior, so that our angelic nature may fully flower through the subtle and the gross vehicles through which we are ordered to give visions of the Supreme Presence and the glory of God. May our hearts shine with such delight that results from our union with the Supreme One, that we are freed from any final need to correct any errors of understanding or action. That must all be motivated by the direct will of the Supreme Self, without any trace of intentionality from any other level. the power of God is conferred in proportion to the level of our having completely surrendered any separate will or any use of the mind that is not that of the One Self. May we recognize the immensity of the importance of every moment in these last days of Kali Yuga that determine the fortune of the soul forevermore in every cycle of time.